Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the BoomBar right here on your Boom Radio NG. And my name is Dolupo. I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. And today promises to be a very, very interesting one. I was going to be talking about quite a number of things today. There's a bit of conversation in the House of Representatives. There are quite a number of things we're going to be talking about that. Also, this, and it is mainly on the issue of... It's mainly on the issue of the things that happened in in Edo State. So we're going to be talking about that. Quite a number of issues have come up with that. Kogi State looks like there is a curfew in between the curfew and the police asking for some things to happen. Looks like there is a replication of what happened in Bayelsa is happening in Kogi State as well. You might be wondering why. Well, we'll see. Also, there is some predictions that petrol price that has suddenly also now increased is going to drop to as low as some other interesting numbers. We'll talk about that also. There's a bit of entertainment news and sports, obviously. It is the BoomBar, and I bid you a warm welcome to the bar today. Like I said, I am Oladilukwa, the one and only. And with me in the studio is Sola Rogers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and happy All Fools Day. Happy April Fool's Day.
Oh, yeah. Until I saw a headline, I didn't even remember that used to happen.
It's April Fool's Day, but, something also happened here at the bar. It's actually the first time that we went live at BoomBar a few years ago. The very first BoomBar actually started on April Fool's Day.
Are you serious?
A few years ago.
How come I did not know that information?
Back in the day when we had a smaller studio, when we didn't have this many lights, when the AC could get turned off by our former...
The powers that be then.
And we would be sweating.
Oh, yeah. And we're standing.
And standing because our tables were higher.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have chairs. It's not like we wanted to stand because the tables... We didn't even have chairs.
Are you serious? That was actually started April 1. Oh, really?
So...
Oh, that is interesting.
This is the effect I wanted to have when I discovered the very first video last week, Thursday.
Oh, really?
I just smiled and I said I would wait until this moment to say congratulations.
Yeah,
we're talking about
that's
over
how many years? That's about at least 6 years.
We're talking about over 1,000 episodes of the BoomBar.
Wow.
Live.
Wow.
So
yeah, BoomBar has always been live. I know that we've had a bit of recorded episodes, but I'm not sure they're up to 10.
Nah, I'm not sure they're up to 3. It's only been twice. So, congratulations. And to everybody that ever walked in through that door, any of the BoomBar doors.
BoomBar doors, yeah.
To everybody that was ever part of the bar.
That is so fantastic.
This is a big shout out to you guys.
Oh, wow.
To all the guests we've had, to all the colleagues we've had. It's an amazing day.
Why didn't you tell me before?
Yeah. This is the effect.
This is an anniversary.
Yes, it is.
Oh. It literally should be on our headlines. Like, BoomBar anniversary.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And the honest truth is, BoomBar has seen 3 different studios.
Yeah.
Yes. We've evolved to 3 different studios. We're not where we want to be, but we're definitely not where we used to be. Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not. But it's so beautiful. That is so beautiful to actually find out. I don't know how I never even thought about it. The honest truth is, not even very good with dates. But congratulations to us and everybody that is watching and everybody that has always watched and held on and believed in the BoomBar. So let's get right into it. I was going to be talking about quite a number of things today, like I had said earlier. First things first. Okay, just wanted to put this out there. The president has approved the 10-year extension for the Controller General of Immigration, Kemi Nandap. I think that they're doing a lot of interesting work in the immigration. And I think that with the help of the minister, the controlling minister that the immigration is under, they're really doing a lot of fantastic work there. We see how our passports are getting faster to be out. We're seeing how there is the e-gates. There's a lot of things happening at the immigration that I think they have a data center now. They have like a whole it's really I think that they're doing a lot of work, and it's not a bad idea. If you ain't broke, don't fix it. When someone is doing something right, just leave it and don't scatter the system. So I think that makes sense. Also wanted to put this out there, as NIMET has released new weather outlook for April. They are also saying that there is a bit of a prediction of we might see extreme heat in a couple of states around the country, reaching up to about 42 degrees centigrade. So they're saying, okay, 2019, that's 6 years. Yeah, I was correct.
Today.
Yeah. Please, could you share this video? I actually need to post this video. It should. Even BoomBar should. And Boom Radio handles should actually post this video. So, like I said, NIMET's April weather. So they're saying that in the north that they might be seen as high as 42 degrees centigrade. Around the north, there are quite a number of things. In the north, we're seeing about 38 to 42 degrees centigrade. In central states, they're seeing about 36 to 40 degrees. And in the south, with coastal areas still witnessing as high as 32 to 36 degrees centigrade. So as much as they're talking about, there might be some heavy rainfall, but there also would come with a bit of heat. So people just brace yourselves, basically. Also, before I talk about the gist, I just wanted to get all these things out. Also, Kano and Lagos are leading, as NIMC has now announced that 117 million Nigerians have national identification number. So could we say that at least it's safe to say that there are more than 100 million Nigerians? If 117 have an IN.
And then we should be looking at like 300 million now.
Because if 117 have an IN, and there are quite a number of people that as common as it has now been now, because we all know that it became mandatory. When it was not mandatory, even I included, I did not have. Or funny enough, I thought I didn't have. Let me put it like that. I thought I didn't have until when it became mandatory, and then I realized, when you open a bank account and all that, there's stuff like it comes with your BVN and all that. Nobody told me that. But anyway, like I said, it has become mandatory. So if about 117 million of Nigerians have, and there are quite a number of people, I can bet you that there are quite a number of people that still do not have. What's now? How many are we in?
300 million.
Oh my God.
I know that we still feel that our numbers are exaggerated. Regardless of the number of people who have NIN, we still feel that our numbers are exaggerated.
We are plenty in this country.
To settle this score, we need that census like yesterday. Census that they were trying to do by force, by fire that year. Because,
like, take for example, they tell you that about 20 million people are in Lagos. NIMC is saying that at least 12.6 million registered in Lagos. So, I see that they're literally leaning towards that 20 million. True.
If 12.6 million have registered in Lagos alone, and you can now use your own native intelligence to say at least times 3 of that live in Lagos.
I I think it's that. I don't think it's up to that. But
Lagos.
maybe.
Go and stand on that Lagos by the express and look at the volume of vehicles.
They're saying that in Kano, about 10.2 million registered in Kano. You people are plenty in this country, Sha. Let's just.
It just shows that you people are knocking too much.
You know the funny thing is that I remember watching a podcast a few days ago, and someone was saying that as much as that Africa is the fastest growing population in the world, and why is because yes, as much as our death rate or our life expectancy is reducing, Africa is still giving birth more than people are dying. Like in like in Asia, like Japan or something, the life expectancy is about 80, in their 80 something. They say in Africa or in Nigeria it's like 50 something, which I know people that are over 100. That one is bobo. No, they are deceiving yourself.
So,
however, they're saying that as much as you think that a lot of people are dying in Africa and Nigeria, there are a lot more children that are being given birth to. That the sad part is in places like Japan that are being that they don't die quickly. People actually also don't give birth that easily. I watched a video a few days ago where someone had brought a 4-month-old to a restaurant, and everybody was greeting the person, and they were like as if it was a tourist attraction. Like you don't see babies like that easily around those places.
You know, online you get to hear a whole lot of things. People are saying things that are true and untrue, but there's one recurring decimal. We're talking population explosion and depletion of the human race and everything. It's actually real that while some parts of the world are complaining about a decreased number of people and their numbers are dropping, Africa's numbers are going up.
Growing, you know.
Elon Musk was tweeting about. He's actually very passionate about how people need to procreate more. He's done his own bit, though. You see the number of children.
You know the funny thing is what she said. So this person was talking about how a lot of people are not getting married or giving birth in places like in Asia and Japan because there's a lot of IT. Everybody is into their work, but in places like America, that they also have a lot of population, that you would think their own problem is that there are a lot of, and shout out to anybody, this is just conversation, that there are a lot of gay people getting married, and gay people as in whether you're man to man or woman to woman, means that they're not procreating.
That's another angle.
So that's another angle to it. There are a lot more people that are in the LGBT community, and that whole bunch, there's no procreation in that bunch, except people that go out of their way to go and look for. And what's the percentage of that? So the person was now saying that, yeah, you might think that our laws are strict, a lot of things, but that if we continue like this, Africa will probably be the only saving grace for the human race.
As Africa will be, and I'm going to say something that I know that it's still contentious, but it keeps pointing to the fact that this is the cradle of mankind, Africa in itself. And regardless of all the things that they've put her through, she's been through a lot, slave trade. They sat down somewhere in Europe and shared Africa and separated brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Take a look at how there are Yoruba speaking people in Benin Republic who are in another country, but they are Yoruba people. It's the same thing in the northern part of Nigeria
that are as far as Ghana. Ghana would even share border.
Oh, there are Yoruba people as far as all those places. So that's even migration. But I'm even talking about the border lines where you're more or less demarcating that this person is in another country and this one is in one country. Meanwhile, they are brother and sister. It's the same thing in the south part of Nigeria, where you have Nigerians who have families in I was
watching a video, this thing that you said now. I was watching a video where someone, he's Haitian, and it was like he lives in the US, and he said all his life he always got the story of how, guy, you behave Igbo, like how are you Igbo, and then the culture, that part of where he's from, the culture, even up to the statues that like they have, do you understand, their old relics and all that. And until he actually had roommates that were Igbo. And he said he got to a point, he came to Nigeria and he went to the east and they were talking, and then it got to a point where there was an older man that was speaking Igbo to him. And then it's like, I'm not Nigerian. Like, he has no idea, but that a lot of their culture is so alike. There are a lot of their, what's it called? And you can imagine, as far as Haiti.
Yeah, because again, that has to do with slave trade and the way people were taken from West Africa, to all those places. You get.
Yeah.
So, I know that a lot of Igbo people were taken to, and you find them now in certain parts of Jamaica and some parts of the Caribbean. You find a large chunk of Yoruba people also St. Kitts, Nevis, and
Brazil,
all those places. That majorly because of slave trade, And if you look at all of that slave trade, the delineation of Africa along whatever thing that made the white people do this thing that they did to us, Africa is
still standing. Yeah,
the bulk of the resources the world needs is in Africa. That's why all of these things are happening. But eventually, one day, everything will be all right, and the world would find peace. Hopefully.
Anyway.
But regardless, there are talks of countries that actually would not mind if men from other countries, especially Africa, actually migrate there,
and they pay them.
Oh my God. That's why I was saying that some things online are not true, but some are actually true.
Some are true. Some are
their
true.
numbers are dropping. Remember when China was saying only one child per...
Now they're having issues with those things now. But
people are already keyed into it.
But there are a lot in that side.
Those ones, there are a lot. They are continents.
Let's not even lie. There are quite a lot. Anyway, how did we get to that point? But anyway, let's move on.
Numbers,
that was what started the issue. But so let's go on to one of the gists of today. And now the House of Representatives Minority Caucus is demanding for compensation for the Uromi mob attack victims. And for people that do not know, apparently this issue started when vigilantes stopped people coming from the north, and they said they were going to hunt. They found them with Dane guns and knives and all that, and they were killed, basically. Now, I'd seen a few conversations first like that. One of the vigilantes were stabbed by these people from the north. That was what started after they were asked to what they were doing or what they were coming from, and then when they did not want to show what the reason why they're there or the things they had, they didn't want to be searched, and then one of the vigilantes actually got stabbed. Now, the honest truth is, you're coming into someone's territory.
Mm-hmm.
You have weapons. It is enough for those people, especially with insecurity in the country, it is enough for them to be afraid. You can't say you're hunting where? Why not hunt your, what's it called? However, and I know you had said this yesterday, something similar happened in Ondo State, and they were returned. They asked them to go back to where they were coming from. Or if you think that maybe they will not go back, you could detain them and hand them over to the police. It would have been a better, more interesting conversation, and the police hands them over maybe to the state government, and maybe the Edo state government literally ships them back, collects their weapons and ships them back to whatever state. I think they're from Kano state, do you understand? And then they hand them over back to the state government of Kano. But the truth is, even in fear, I think fear makes people do a lot of irrational things. I'm not saying that is right what they did, but I think that fear made them do the things they did, not justifying the jungle justice, because I don't think anybody deserves to die, especially when you do not have concrete evidence against those people. You literally could have just put them in police station and then move over to the police or even the army or something. So now the House of Reps Minority Caucus has now demanded for compensation for these people. And I think that the truth is, the people that committed this crime need to be arrested. They need to be arraigned. So that is to send a message to people that you don't do things like that. It's not a guerrilla republic. Everybody, you don't take laws into your hands. You don't do those kind of things. It's just wrong on all levels. Also, the families of the people that were killed also need to be compensated. I know that the governor of Edo State, Governor Paolo, had to go to Kano yesterday. So seems like there is a diplomatic way this thing is being solved. However, I've seen one or two videos, actually, literally 2 videos, where people have said some very, I don't think it's not very reasonable, the kind of things that were said. I think that the police, maybe the DSS, the army needs to look into it. Maybe pick up some people. You cannot. In fact, I saw a video where someone was justifying the death. Or remember that Deborah lady, and then talking about how there's going to be a reprisal and all that. Those things need to, first, people like that need to be picked up. 2, I think people also need, because I didn't see it from the original person's post. People copied it and started posting it on their own pages. I don't see the sense in reposting violence, because you're making that video go viral. I don't see the sense in what you're doing. So I think that people should also please be careful the kind of things you put on your social media.
Remember that I had mentioned yesterday how some of those people were already making those kind of inciting videos and everything. And you know that a whole lot of that is actually going down. And of course, we need to sound that warning quickly that, look, this is not how these things should go down. I'm happy that it's being nipped in the bud. Nobody's allowing it to get to the point where it can't be controlled. One of the best things that happened was the quick trip by the governor of Edo State to Kano itself, had a meeting with the governor, then went to the local government where the bulk of these people were from, and actually spoke to them in Hausa. I saw the video and I was like, this is a smart move, because we cannot allow things to degenerate to the point where we start to ask questions like, why were they not being proactive about it?
Yeah, the governor also said about 14 people have been arrested.
And they are in Abuja.
Because it's actually a crime. It is a crime. There's no explanation.
So again, if you're going to be talking about now compensating the victims, let us enshrine it in the laws. Let it be a standard. No, I'm not saying that people should go about killing people expecting that, but I'm just saying that let things be structured so that it's not just based on this sentiment that everybody is feeling now, because this is mass murder at its worst. You know, they keep telling you 16. A lot of people on ground saying there are as much as 19 or 20 people were actually killed.
Wow.
You know, but again, I know that ego, emotions, pride, and everything might have played, but there's no explanation for killing people, killing even one person. You know, I saw a video of their dogs, you know, which leans towards their stories of being hunters and all of that. But at this point, we just need to douse all the tension. There's no need to try and prove anything other than the fact that the facts actually point to the fact that, yes, indeed, too many people were killed needlessly, unnecessarily.
Very, very, very unnecessary.
You could have arrested them. You could have done a whole lot of stuff.
It could have been anything but what you did. Anyway, so we'll definitely follow the story and see what the government of Edo State and Kano State will do from this. And now let's move on from that. Let's go all the way to Kogi State. Very interesting gist. So apparently there's been stories that the suspended senator Natasha is supposed to go for a homecoming rally in Kogi State. I think that I saw a video of the governor literally say that she was not welcome to do a rally in the state. And this was very reminiscent of a few days ago what the governor of Bielsa said in when it came to having rallies in the state. The honest truth is that it might not also be the same thing, because at least the FCT minister is not from Bayelsa. So this person is from Kogi State. She's a senator in Kogi State. So I don't know how the governor is supposed to stop this. However, the local government in Kogi State has also now imposed, the local government where she's from has also imposed a curfew ahead of this homecoming rally. Now, after that, the police has now asked the senator herself to cancel the homecoming rally in Kogi.
Homecoming rally. The
Is it that you don't go home before?
The advisors of Senator Natasha Akpoti, I hope that you guys know what you're doing, because you're doing everything except one single thing that this woman needs. Go to court and sue the Senate president for sexual harassment. Homecoming rally. Petitioner went last week to the committee and made a mess of it. And I feel it was deliberate, because if you really had something to petition, you would have gone through all the hoops and loops and everything that they set in your path. But you went there to say that they should go and set up a special committee for you. Under which law? So, please, dear Senator Natasha Akpoti, do yourself and all the women in Nigeria a favor. A lot of people, when they find themselves in a situation where they've been sexually molested, harassed, or prepositioned, or anything that doesn't sit well with them, they have this fear of coming out. They have the fear that they'll be shamed for being the victim.
Yeah, but at least they will not be hobnobbing with the...
They have a lot of...
with the aggressor again.
Yeah, but they have a whole lot of things that holds them back. But if you champion this the right way, by coming out with, your court case, and now you have the ears of everybody, you have the eyes of everybody. All you just need now is proof. I saw a podcast I saw a snippet of a podcast by Sheun Okinbaloye, and he was speaking to someone who, on more than one occasion, confirmed that is Natasha Akpoti's husband's friend.
Okay, I think I saw that.
And I saw where they put a screen grab of a text that she sent to him.
Yeah.
Based on all these Akpabio matters from last year. They first had the first falling out about nightclub or no nightclub, something.
Okay, yeah,
And
they did.
apparently he had spoken on behalf of the... And I can't repeat the things that were written down there.
Yeah, that she actually said.
Wrote.
Yes.
So that's the kind of proof that I also hope she has against Akpabio. It's not this story about squeezing your hand and...
I think I remember that, and it's something that we had talked about at the bar, that she's done everything else, gone to court for everything else except this matter. Now, she's actually held this homecoming rally. However, she says that she's not breaking any law by holding the rally. I hope that this rally goes on as quietly as possible. However, I was going to ask, homecoming rally, why I don't know why it's a homecoming rally, is because according to Nigerian law, you're supposed to have a constituency office. We see lawmakers literally, I think one of the reasons why they don't even have plenary on Fridays is because they're supposed to go back to their constituencies and their senatorial districts to actually engage with the people. So when last did you go to Kogi if you're having a homecoming rally? If it's something that you do a lot, then there shouldn't be a need for a homecoming rally.
Can I disagree with you? The homecoming rally has nothing to do with homecoming and everything to do with creating awareness about her and her recent exposure to the media and her recent battles. This homecoming rally is not... Do you remember that last week she was still sharing palliatives in absentia? So it's really not about coming home, in quote. It's part of the playbook. That's what I'm saying, that they're doing everything.
But
doing the right thing. The idea is to just show people I'm still standing. I don't care about no ban. You can't keep me down. And I'm going to, this is a classic move. If you play chess, you understand when you are baiting someone. Like, okay, you can take this, so that I can now come and beg. Well, I think you've taken it too far, in my opinion. I wish you would listen to people like us. If you really want to win this battle, you must provide proof. All this homecoming story, it doesn't add anything. How's this going to move them at descending? Oh, look at her. She had homecoming rally. Yeah. Oh, yeah, let us bring her back. Again, just like that man said, it looks like it was someone that was watching BoomBar. Like, follow the laid down dictates. I apologize for that misconduct. It doesn't mean that your case is gone.
It's gone.
Then now, get your petitioner to bring that petition properly and have proof. And you will see, I'm telling you, the way people will turn on Akpabio if this thing is true.
Anyway, we'll see where all that is going to. Like I said, I really hope that this rally has ended by now, or if it's still going on, it ends peacefully for the day, so that we don't have drama from that as well. Now, moving on from that, interesting news, as 3 Nigerians have now pled guilty to a $4.5 million money laundering case in the United States. Why do you people do the things that you do? You people are stressing me out.
So for every time we try to project Nigeria positively, for every Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, for every Asisat Oshola, and all our great athletes, for every Flavor, for every Burna Boy, there's one idiot.
At this point, 3 idiots.
Yeah, in this case, 3 idiots.
3 idiots.
Who would stop at nothing to spoil the name of this country?
Interesting news. Olumide Olorunfunmi, 39-year-old, a 53-year-old Samson Amos, and a 42-year-old Emmanuel Unuigbe. And why I wanted to mention their names was, you realize that it cuts across everybody. It's not a tribal thing. Horrible people are horrible people. End of story.
A thief is a thief is a thief. There are 3 thieves here. And the matter still remains that greed. Yesterday, BBC broke news of
Nigerian doctor.
One Kevin Alaneme or something. Funny thing is, all through last week on Twitter, before you scroll 4 times, there was this Kevin guy that was selling a book, so his adverts were popping up. I was about to block that handle.
Okay, I think I saw that handle.
Nothing spoiled or something was titled on the book. I said, this person is trying, but I beg, I can't just open.
Is it the same person?
It's the same guy.
No.
Same guy. Same guy.
Are you serious?
I am.
They're
very
still
serious.
posting. They're still.
Same guy. It's the same guy selling a book and blah, blah, blah. It's the same guy.
Are you sure? Maybe it's just a name.
Same guy. He still tweeted from his handle yesterday.
Yes, that was
where he was explaining his own side of the story and how he feels that he believes that the BBC distorted the story and that he has gotten in touch with his lawyers and blah, blah, blah. Same guy, same handle. You can check it out.
Oh, wow.
Same guy. Same guy. Let's even look at it this way. Business is about profit.
Yeah.
And let's say you are in this as a business. But something that costs you £2,000 and you're charging 12, 15, 20,000 pounds. If you do 100% markup, that's still something now. But you're charging people 10, 12,000 pounds. And even in some instances, there's no job.
But
and people will now go sell all their properties. And the same guy, what even makes it worse is the same guy is on Twitter criticizing the government, calling out the government for corrupt practices and saying all sorts of things. Same guy.
So I might be wrong here.
Same guy.
Would I say that my mentality is wrong? But if I have 15,000 pounds, not even dollars, pounds. Anybody that knows that pounds has actually more value than dollars. If I have 12 to 15,000 pounds that I can give somebody, I ain't going to UK to go and look for money. Meaning that I'm paying you that money. It's gone. Then I'm now going to start looking for a job of £50. No.
So people end up spending.
That doesn't make any sense.
People end up spending as much as 25 million naira. In some cases, as much as to go and get those jobs. To go and get those jobs. You know,
I don't think there's any reasonable business you will spend 15,000 pounds in Nigeria that you will not make.
If you know what you're doing, treasury bills alone, people are
just put it there. Money. Do you understand? Been collecting money every year.
There are these bonds that government has that people are actually making money off it.
No.
There's real estate, you know, that you can actually invest in.
What do you want to tell me?
Make money.
That's I'm going to give. Anyway.
You know,
like I said, I might be wrong.
So here we are, Nigerians going out there, a few of them, and once one guy does it, you know, the beauty of this BBC story, there was a Ghanaian, I think the guy is Ghanaian, that also scammed the Ghanaian community. And at one sitting, the BBC reporter was asking, I think they had about 5 people sitting around the table where she went to meet with them, and they all talked about the amount that they are giving this guy. It was about £60,000 amongst 5 people. One person said 15,000. One said 12,000. One said 20,000 pounds.
Giving somebody else.
They're trying to help their relatives. They are all in the UK. So most of them are trying to bring their relatives over, help them get a job and everything. And the guy, very believable, very hard, nice, trusting guy, but he's a scammer. The guy they've not been able to catch that one is a Ghanaian guy. There's another guy that's from another African country, and you look at them and say,
why do we do this to ourselves?
All this money is waiting.
Like, it's even sad because it's sadder because now you're now duping your own people that are actually struggling. A lot of people probably struggle even collect loans to meet up with this money, and in your heart of heart you're duping this person. It's sad. And then you will now say that the white man is looking down on you. The white man is being racist. Wait, what are you doing to your own people? Is worse. I don't know.
The other funny thing that you hear is things like, the country is bad. Yeah.
And that's why you are duping other people.
No. Even the ones that end up falling victim to them, 18, 20 million naira, 25
does it
million.
mean that you don't have sense?
You feel raise 25 million and you say country bad.
You get, if you can raise 25 million, you're not a broke person.
Well,
you're far from broke.
If I get half of that now, I am being real. If I get half of that 25 million now, I'm going to go be like say, I win lottery. Not because they go blow money. I know what to do with it.
Are you kidding? Anyway, still talking about scams and all that. The SEC, that is the security and sorry, I'm looking for the name. Security and Exchange Commission. That went off my head. The DG of the SEC has now said that the new Investment and Securities Act of 2025, recently signed by the president, has now said that there is a possible sentencing to at least 10 years imprisonment for people involved in Ponzi schemes. So it is official now in Nigeria that it is a crime to be involved in a Ponzi scheme.
By involved now, they're saying even the people that put their money in it.
You might be.
Or
you just might be.
All these scammers. I need to know. So we know how to advise.
What they're saying
people.
now, until now, the commission did not have legal backing to actually prosecute Ponzi scheme operators. So now with operators, they're saying that you could actually end up in jail. Anyone operating a Ponzi scheme in Nigeria would also be made to pay about up to a 40 million naira penalty. At least we don't have all those nonsense 5 naira, 10 naira penalties anymore.
Should be naive then catch the person. The Mavrodi people that scammed Nigerians that year, they ran away now. They disappear.
So they're saying that
it's good that they have laws.
So according to the law now, according to this man, they're saying that the least amount of money that you're going to have to pay back is 40 million naira, or the entire money that was charged, that you were charged with, and that you could go land in jail to as much as 40 million. 10 years in prison. And I think that with MMM, when those countries are maybe not in Nigeria, it's not. You can't really hold them.
No, the couple that actually did the thing in Nigeria ran. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But that's what he's saying.
It's not even about the
Russian guy. The problem is that there was literally no law to sue these people.
That's not true. That's not true. There are laws to sue people for scam, for stealing by trick,
defrauding and all that. He is now saying that there is not talking about a specific law for Ponzi scheme. Yeah. It's not a specific law. So it's not maybe trying to explain it that it was not fraud. No, there is now a specific law for Ponzi scheme.
The best law and the best solution. Please, if it sounds too good to be true.
It is too good to be true. It is.
Run, no.
It is. It definitely is. So people should be careful with that. And still talking about a bit of money. Now, the Nigeria Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, a lot of Nigerians might want to like this, saying that with the proliferation of refineries coming up, that even with the issue with Dangote and NNPC and back and forth, that before the end of the year, fuel could sell as low as 750 naira per litre.
That would be nice. Every kobo that is saved, every naira that is saved, is a good thing. We have bought fuel as high as 1,000 plus per litre. Then it went to as low as 820.
Yeah, so. It was 820, 830.
Then it's 920 now.
Yeah. So it might be believable that 750 might be possible.
It might be. I'm even saying that's good. Once we're saving, even if it's 910 tomorrow, it's still savings. But I feel, and I'm not giving to conspiracy theories, but some of these things, it looks like there's some kind of hocus pocus going on.
Okay.
People say, oh, we shouldn't have a monopoly. Yeah, we agree. But whether it's monopoly or Ludo, that I am buying petrol cheaper is good. But wait. Mm-hmm. Then some people are on the other side that say that they are the imported fuel, they can't sell it. One thing. And people are like, your landing cost is higher than Kiniko. Is that our business? Then a few days after, Naira and Kiniko deal is cancelled. They are now going to Shekiniko, which means that the locally refined fuel and the imported one can now be sold side by side. I'm not saying anything, but for educational purposes, isn't it too much of a coincidence? I am not saying anything. I'm just saying that now the people who imported petrol can sell it.
They are selling it.
And they have started selling it. There's no more complaints.
I don't know how to.
So please, Mr. President and Mr. and Mrs. Ministers of Oil, SA Oil, and all of you. Yeah, there's actually an advisor on oil. She's actually very good. We need to get more affordable energy. CNG. Conversion of CNG is high. Mm-hmm. The cost is crazy. The entry point is very, very high. You need 1 million plus. But if it's brought down, we also need more places to buy. There's queue at every CNG point now.
Yeah, it's interesting
because people are saving money.
But anyway, we'll see what goes on with that. Definitely hold the NIPSS to their word and see that maybe before the end of the year. And you think that year might be a long time.
That's Kuru near Jos. You know the NIPSS, the Institute of Policy, is situated in a place they call Kuru. So whenever they talked about it on the news back in the day, they would say Kuru near Jos. Kuru near Jos. So every time I hear this thing, the next thing in my mind is Kuru. near Jos.
Okay. Anyway, the NSCDC has announced that they had impounded a 70,000 litre truck of stolen crude in Rivers State. Stop stealing fuel. I don't understand. Anyway, also police have arrested six suspects, rescued 21 kidnapped victims, and recovered 4.8 million naira ransom.
Shout out to the Nigerian police. When they do well, we go praise them. When they do bad, we go knock them.
Yeah,
and this is a plus.
I think
Thank you for your service.
Yep. Now let's do a bit of international stories, as it's still interesting. After 91 hours of the Myanmar, Thailand earthquake, there seems to be a lot more casualties in Myanmar than in Thailand. The death toll has risen to as high as over 2,700 people. It's such a sad story. However, on the good side of it, after 91 hours, a woman was pulled out.
She was alive.
Alive.
In the rubble.
Yeah, in the rubble after 91 hours. So I agree that at times maybe they never should. This kind of thing also gives hope to the rescuers. That they might still keep going and still get more people to bring up. Again, it also lays credence to when they tell you about fasting and how you can live without food and how the body will take care of itself and everything. Yeah,
I'm glad that they brought her out, maybe just in the nick of time.
Yeah, it was.
And hopefully she will go on to full recovery. And also, sadly, in Malaysia, about over 100 people got injured in a fire where there was a pipeline explosion in the country's Kuala Lumpur. That's a sad one, right?
That's also a very sad one. However, let's go on to the U.S. that the Democrats have now sued the U.S. president over his elections order. Remember we talked about this last week, where in fact there's an order now. There's an executive order that he signed talking about people confirming their citizenship before they can vote. So the Democrats have now sued the president.
Anything that would give them credible elections, I think it sounds good. And like I said again, it keeps signing all those EOs, and how many of them will actually see the light of day? How many of them will stand in the court of law? And the beauty of democracy is that you can test it in the court of law. But again, someone needs to advise the president of America to chill a bit and put things in better perspective. When we were talking about tariffs yesterday and how those three military-controlled countries, the junta, they are imposing sanctions on goods that are being imported from Nigeria and other West African countries. And it always leads me to Trump's own, tariff-laden government. Like, you get a tariff, you get it.
Y'all get a tariff, y'all get
Mr. Trump is giving everybody tariffs. Like, don't worry, America first and all of that. But now, you're seeing Japan, Korea, and was it China coming together. Do you know the implications of that?
All those things, let's even look at it. See Russia and all the sanctions that Russia got after the issues with Ukraine, and they're still standing. Maybe some of the times it helps these people just look inward, and you know what?
You cannot tariff your way into building an economy.
Yeah, it's everybody needs everybody at the end of the day. Now, let's move on to a bit of sports before we go. As the maiden edition of the Niger Delta Sports Festival has now begun in Uyo today.
Fantastic thing. Anything that has to do with grassroots sports, anything that has to do with talent nurturing and discovery, I am all for it. I like the whole concept of the Niger Delta Games.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Nigerian female boxer Elizabeth Oshoba has now defeated Lenka Volezhnikova to retain her WBF title.
The first thing is to defeat the name.
Defeat the name, yeah.
Somebody was reading the news this afternoon. It's not, don't worry, don't blame yourself. That name was meant to be a boxer's name, but you see, Oshoba, no, they fear anybody. Yeah, shout out to that Niger can do spirit. She's always, And I've seen a few videos of her, and I'm like, she's also always coming out with this glow. So shout out to you.
Shout
Keep
out to
going.
her.
Keep going.
And also, still talking women, Super Falcons midfielder Chinaza Uchendu has now been nominated in a club for Player of the Month.
Congratulations. Hopefully you win.
Yeah.
But being nominated alone gone or something.
It's something. It shows that you're doing something right. Now let's do a bit of entertainment before we go. First things first, news broke this morning where apparently on Bobrisky, remember that name? Yeah, that name Bobrisky. He had put out a statement.
Is it Boxer too?
He had put out, or she, whichever one, had put out a statement, or there's actually they, about how had been arrested at Nigerian immigration. And I remember a few months ago, I'm like, I thought that you said you were not coming back to Nigeria. What are you doing in Nigeria?
So you all fell for it?
I do not think that there was anything out of the place. Honestly, until I think that there was now another post about this person saying that it's April Fool's. I actually remember that it's actually April Fool's Day.
I saw everybody's weak attempt at April Fool this morning. As early as 5 a.m., I've seen tweets about one team being relegated. And I'm not like, wait.
That was not April. April Fool used to be believable.
I'm like, not even sabi this thing.
Believable stories.
April Fool that we did that they almost chased us away from the house. That's April Fool. You understand?
Oh Lord. But apparently decided because in my head, another reason why I believed it. I'm like, if I'm correct, this person was let out on bail or something, and then you jetted out of the country. If you come back, you will probably be arrested.
So, what's the guy's name again?
Bobrisky.
Yeah. He fooled you people. Abi?
Pretty much.
Yeah, here we are. Sorry.
Interesting. Anyway, moving on from that, the one very interesting story had popped up. So, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Adeboye, had actually visited. This is supposed to be his second visit to the Trinity Towers of the City of David. Okay. That's supposed to be the HQ of Apapa family.
Okay.
So there was news where he had changed the name, that they're no longer the Apapa family, they're now the Favored family, and it was talking about how they just always did everything for him, that he doesn't even know how, that as far back, I think I watched a video where he said as far back as 23 years ago, Apapa family bought him a Rolls Royce, that he needed money for ministry, and he had sold it, but that they always did every of his birthday, that all his trips, a lot of his trips, it was sponsored by the Apapa family and all that, and basically the kind of things that they've done for the RCCG family as a whole. Then I think it brought up the issue of the former pastors of the church, pastor and his wife Iliyomade, and then someone who is supposed to be their friend and maybe a confidant of the Iliyomades also now granted an interview talking about how the pastor and his wife, when they were suspended, they were asked to go to a Butemeta for 3 months, and every week this person said she went with them, and that after 3 months they thought that they were going to be reinstated back into the City of David, and they were not. And according to her, she said that they were given a letter not to step foot into City of David anymore, and they had written letters to Pastor Adeboye, and they did not get any response from him, and that, I think that was what led to them opening their own church and all that. And the first thing that popped in my head is, so I'm not even sure this is politics, because before I get to that, the person also said that according to what a lot of people said, because I think Pastor Boye had talked about how every debt or every loan that was taken to pay for the Trinity Towers has also now been paid up in full and everything, and they're not owing anybody any money. And this person said that as much as a lot of people had talked about how it was the late Herbert Wigwe and his wife and his family that were involved in building the Trinity Towers, that it's not just them, that they just did their own like the way every other person in the church did. And my issue with that is that, or I won't say an issue, did they really in their heart of heart think that they were going to go back as pastors of City of David?
Apparently they did.
Interesting. Why I said so is because, no, this is not even about them personally. My thought is, when you're a pastor of a church, it's here about you. Even if you're as big as City of David, if there's a calling on you, you should be able to leave City of David and go to Ikole Ekiti.
You're saying this now. You're saying this now as someone who is saying this is the ideal way things should be.
No, I don't think I'm not saying it's ideal, but I'm saying that the whole concept of
you're trying
calling,
to wait.
I don't think that it's about a church.
I'm not trying to pick fault in what you've said. I'm trying to place it, on this table and say that what Dolupo is saying is, this is how things should be.
That's what I think.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I said you're saying this as someone who thinks this is how things should be. I was talking to some people a few days ago, and they're telling me about how some pastors will resign the instant the church sent them to certain places.
Yes, I've seen it not once, not twice. Yes.
Okay. What does that tell you?
So that's why I said that it's not about
People,
just the Ilu Yomadis. I'm like, the whole concept of
there's a reason
a calling. It shouldn't be tied to a particular
what
church.
What is calling? Calling, there are different. Look, if you have two phones, you can receive a call. You can use one phone to call the other and say you got a call.
Don't do that.
What is calling?
Don't do that.
Are you saying that you actually believe that every pastor you see, regardless of the church, was called? People call some people is text.
In recent times, we've seen a lot. So,
and they are called.
No, that's what I'm
What's
saying.
calling?
That's what I'm saying. That we've
Let
seen
me
a
tell
lot.
you, people call themselves. People are calling themselves now. They will go and open shop. I'm not saying anybody should not do it the way they want to. It's between you and your God. But that you are talking about calling in 2025. Calling. They don't use someone to become pastor again now. Calling. Okay. There's no church that doesn't have a system that if you key into, you start to rise.
Yeah.
If you are interested, that's calling. Before you know it, you're evangelist.
Because the funny thing is,
let's
still go back to the fact that a prominent member of your church, his wife and child, they didn't just die as they were old, though. They died very tragic death. And a few weeks after, you are dancing not just anything as it's your birthday. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't. To flavor. There are layers to this thing.
No,
I think that
again, we might have bashed them in the past. Again, we look at stories from the now. Dolupo, do you know if this is God working through these people and working for them? Do you know? Do you know there are latter days? Do you know the spirit that God wants to bring into them? Do you know the kind of work that He wants to use them to do? Never ever can tell.
We don't know.
We can talk about what we've seen, but there are a lot of things that we don't see and know. But let nobody get it twisted. We have gone past the days of God calling people into ministry. People call themselves now.
Oh my God.
Okay, wait, are you playing around now? Suddenly, you marry a man and you become bishop too.
And you become Pastor Mrs.
The anointing is not transferred through
I don't know.
marital privilege.
There was one of my pastors.
Which calling? That because somebody's wife is pastor or no pastor.
Where the wife is my mom's friend. And
playing?
I remember there was one time, I can't remember what they were talking about. And she said, Wodo, please, you should not put me on a pedestal of pastor. I'm a pastor's wife. Let it stay there.
That's what I'm saying.
We did not get.
I'm not going to lie. It's one of the reasons why I like the Anglican churches and all of that, where the pastor's wife is Mama Yard. She's not a pastor. So you're talking about calling, and you see pastor and pastor Mrs. Did God created group WhatsApp? Was a group call.
Family call.
don't talk about calling again when you are talking about many churches. Oh, let all of us just. The Bible said, "Walk out your own
salvation." Anyway, on that note, that is all we have take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the BoomBar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.